The 1923 season 2 finale just dropped, and fans are still trying to process everything that went down. The season's ending felt abrupt, almost like a gut punch, leaving us with more questions than answers. So let's see what will happen next, shall we? For those hoping for a happy ending, well, season 2 made it painfully clear that wasn't in the cards. We saw Jack getting gunned down, Alex stranded in a frozen wasteland with no one to help her, and Jacob preparing for an all-out war with Donald's men. It seemed inevitable that death and destruction were coming, and the feature-length finale didn't hold back. But with 1923 seemingly wrapped up, the big question now is, what's next? Is there any chance for a 1923 season 3? As of now, there's no official confirmation of a third season, and honestly, it doesn't look likely. Brandon Sklenar hinted in an interview that the 1923 era story might not be entirely over. He said that the season 2 finale was one of the most beautiful things I've ever read in my life. That alone makes it sound like 1923 was always meant to end here. So does that mean Spencer's story is over? Not necessarily. The Yellowstone universe is constantly expanding, and the next big prequel, 1944, is already in development. 1944 is set to be the next Yellowstone prequel, following 1883 and 1923. It's still a mystery what the exact storyline will be, but we can assume one thing. It's going to show how World War II affected the Duttons and the Yellowstone Ranch, and that brings us to Spencer. In the 1923 finale, we learned that Spencer loses Alex, which is brutal to be honest, but goes on to live another 45 years raising their son, John Dutton II. That's a major revelation because it officially links Spencer to Yellowstone's John Dutton III, played by Kevin Costner. By 1944, John II would be 21, which makes him the perfect protagonist for the new series. Thanks to Elsa's narration, we also know that Spencer would still be alive. He'd be in his 50s by then, meaning 1944 could bring him back as an older, hardened man who has been shaped by decades of loss and struggle. Whether or not Brandon returns to play him remains to be seen, but he's definitely open to it. Listen, I know that 1944 is a thing they are planning on doing here, and maybe we see Spencer in 1944, he told in an interview. That is something I would be interested in doing. Another big question is, what happens to Elizabeth? Elsa doesn't reveal anything about what happened to her. In the 1923 finale, she left the ranch for Boston. After losing Jack, she was still pregnant with his child, meaning there's a little Dutton out there somewhere. That child, by 1944, would be around 20 years old, another potential main character. Elizabeth's return to the ranch seems almost inevitable. Maybe she comes back to reconnect with the Dutton family. Maybe she needs help. Or maybe if the ranch is under threat, she feels like it's her duty to return and fight for what was once hers. One thing's for sure, Spencer never remarries, meaning the Duttons don't have a true matriarch at this point. And we know that in Yellowstone, the role of a strong woman is just as important as the men in the family. Elizabeth returning wouldn't be about romance. There's no way she and Spencer would end up together. But she could still be a powerful figure in 1944, shaping the future of the ranch. If 1944 follows the next generation of Duttons, we could see John II stepping up as the new head of the ranch. But with World War II still raging on, there's a real possibility that he could be drafted into the military, leaving the ranch vulnerable to outside threats. And that's where Spencer comes in. I can imagine an older, grizzled Spencer stepping in to protect the family legacy, possibly mentoring John II before he leaves, or fighting to keep the ranch safe while John is away at war. Every Yellowstone prequel has introduced a new villain, and 1944 will likely be no different. But who could it be? If I had to guess, I'd say the biggest threats will come from either the US government trying to take control of more land during wartime, or an old enemy, maybe even Donald's descendants, seeking payback. No matter what happens, one thing is clear: the Duttons' fight for their land is far from over. What about the release date? Sadly, we don't have one yet, but since they're making a whole new show, I believe early 2027 is the safest bet. In the trailer, we could finally see who will play Spencer and Alex's son, as well as old Spencer. So, to sum things up, will 1923 get a season 3? Probably not. But 1944 is shaping up to be a continuation of the same story, just with new characters stepping into the spotlight. There's a lot to look forward to, and if history has taught us anything, it's that the Duttons never go down without a fight. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel and watch this video next.